It's Chris and welcome to part 5 of my tutorial series on spawning in units using the Arma free editor. This time we're going to look at bis-func spawn vehicle, and this video is going to be all about spawning in vehicles and making them do various things. What we're going to look at is spawning in a helicopter and making it fly around in a circle. We're going to look at spawning in a helicopter and making it drop troops at a specific location and then having those troops go off and do their own objectives. And we're going to look at creating multiple vehicles in a group. I'll link this wiki page to you. I suggest you read it. And we're going to work with the example given. Let's look at it in a bit more detail in the Notepad++. So what we have here is our code, and you can see I'm using the multiplayer framework from our last video. Apart from that, it's not too dissimilar to what we've done before. The one major difference is if we start on line 6 here, is we need to create a group first. Now, bis-func spawn group creates a group when we use it. Bis-func spawn vehicle doesn't create a group. So, first thing we need to do is create a group, and I've called our group crew1, because these are going to be the crew for our helicopter. So, crew1 equals group west. So that's great, we've created a group. The second line in this part of the code, line 7, creates the vehicle itself. Now, I've called the vehicle airframe1. So airframe1 equals, and I'm just going to walk you through the array. Again, I'm going to paste all the code into the description of this video, so you don't need to worry about it. Our first position, our first part of the array is the position, and this should seem familiar to you. It's getMarkerPos marker1. So I'm going to have a marker called marker1, and that's going to be where the helicopter starts. Our second part of the array is a number, and that's 140. 140 on a 360 compass is southeastish, and that's the direction the helicopter is going to be facing. The third part of the array is the type of vehicle you want. In this case, I've gone for a Ghost Hawk. And the last part of the array is the group that is going to occupy the helicopter. So we've created a group called crew1, and crew1 is going to be the crew of our helicopter. So if we want to give waypoints, we use the crew1 group, and that gives waypoints to the helicopter. Now, called bis-func spawn group, it will take the group name and it will intelligently add pilots to the helicopter. And that's all it's going to do. It's going to add pilots to the helicopter. It's also going to think, is this a helicopter? Is this a plane? What am I spawning in here? And if it's a helicopter, it's going to put the helicopter in the air to start with. If it's a ground vehicle, it's going to start with the engine on and crew in. Alright, so I'm just going to tab into the game and we'll have a look at how this works. Okay, so once again we've got three markers, one trigger that executes my script.sqf, and we have a guy here. I'm going to walk forward into the trigger, and you'll see off in the distance there our helicopter starts in the air, and I'm just going to speed up time, and he flies around and around in a circle. And that's great. What we're going to look at doing now is spawning in the same helicopter, but on a second waypoint, which is somewhere in that area here. I want him to land, and I want him to drop off troops. So what I'm going to do for a minute is just pause the video, and I'm going to write a script, and I'll walk you through the script. Afterwards, it allows us to get this helicopter to spawn in and drop troops off. Before I do that, however, I'm just going to put one thing on the map, and that is a invisible helipad, which you can find under signs, and that'll serve as a beacon, if you like, for the helicopter AI pilot to know where to land. He'll go, oh, there's a helipad over there. That must be a good place to land. And he'll, instead of making his own mind up about where he's going to land, he'll land exactly on the helipad. Alright, so I'm just going to pause the video and I'm going to make a bit of a script, modify our script, and we'll have the helicopter drop some troops off. And welcome back. I've edited the script so that we now have a group spawning in, a group of 4 soldiers, and I'm just going to scroll down to that here. So my group equals, and you'll recognize this from our first couple of videos, spawn group, and that's a group of 4 NATO soldiers. And they also have their own waypoint, and I've given this a separate name, the waypoint, so I've called it waypoint 1A. So that's their own unique name for their waypoint, which is good practice. And their waypoint is moving to marker free. I've also assigned them as cargo to airframe 1. So this code here, X assign as cargo, airframe 1 select 0, moving cargo, airframe 1 select 0 for each unit my group. So every unit in my group will move into the cargo slots of airframe 1. If you're wondering what this select 0 business is about, that's just BIS's way of distinguishing parts of an aircraft. So select 0 is select the actual vehicle itself. Select 1, I think, is the group in charge of the vehicle. And there's different other parts of the vehicle you can select in this manner. I'll let you research that yourself, but that's essentially what it is. So I'm just telling it that I want the units to be assigned as cargo to the actual airframe itself. And this is where the benefits of using BIS spawn func vehicle come in, because we have a crew name which we can use to give the helicopter waypoints. We have an airframe name, which is the name of our helicopter, which we can use to put groups into the helicopter. And we can also have a separate group, which is our group of infantry, and they're going to have their own waypoints as well. So I'm going to hit save, and we're going to look what happens now. The last thing, actually, is before we go, is waypoint 1. I've added a set waypoint statement, and I've written this land, and that's the piece of code that's going to say land the helicopter, land it anywhere there is a landing pad like we've put down on the map, or land it anywhere that's safe. If it finds a helicopter pad within a certain radius of this waypoint, then it is going to land at that instead of anywhere. It's going to go, that's a nice landing pad. I'm going to land there instead of anywhere else. So I'm going to hit save, and we're going to tab back into the game. We're going to hit preview once more. I'm going to walk forward. If we look very carefully there, you might have seen the group appear just below the helicopter. And this helicopter now is going to come over to our location, and it's going to attempt to land. I would speed up time at this point, but it usually makes the helicopter do some weird things, so I'll just leave it in normal speed. And he has detected the helipad, and he's coming in to land on it. There we go, simple as that. Our 4 guys inside get out. As soon as they're out, the helicopter's going to take off, and they're going to go off on their own waypoints. although the wall seems to be confusing them slightly. So their waypoint is waypoint 3, which is over there, and the helicopter's going to spin round and round in a circle again, as it did last time. So that's it. We've created a group of infantry, and they're going to go off on their own waypoint, and we've created a helicopter, and that helicopter has its own waypoints as well. What I'm going to do now is show you the very last thing we mentioned at the beginning, and that's adding multiple vehicles to a group. So I'm just going to tab out. And what we're just going to do is delete the my group stuff. And we're going to think about this. We're going to copy this line here, and what I'm going to do is paste it down here, and I'm going to change the name of this to airframe 2, and I'm also going to add sleep 5 seconds, and the reason for that is we're using the same name of the group because they're all in the same group. So they're all going to receive the same waypoints. However, we don't want them both spawning at the same time, because that would result in them crashing. So we're going to let airframe 1 spawn in, and then we're going to give it waypoint 1 to the group. So crew 1 is going to get waypoint 1. And then we're going to sleep 5 seconds, and we're going to spawn in airframe 2. And airframe 2, if we look here, is also going to be added to the same group, so it'll receive the same waypoints as the first helicopter. Alright, and that simply will will add this second helicopter to that group. What I'll do is just hit save there, and we'll test this theory out. We also want to paste airframe 2 up at the top there. And we'll tab back into the game. And we'll hit preview. So we walk forward, we trigger the first helicopter, and our first one added. We wait 5 seconds, and our second helicopter's added. And I'm just going to speed up time. As we can see, they're both flying in formation around and around. And that's how you add more than one vehicle. And that's all from me on this video, and that's all from me on this tutorial series. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to write them in the bottom. I can't guarantee I'll get back to you, but someone else might be able to help you. Also, if you have any ideas about videos you'd like to see me make next, drop them in the comments below, and if anything crops up more than once, I'll try and make a video about it if I know how. Hopefully these videos have been useful to you. Remember, all the codes and website links we've seen in these videos are in the descriptions. So, thanks for watching, and goodbye.